I'm Aaron Graber with Ventrac, and in this video, we'll do an overview of the Trencher. The Ventrac Trencher is one of our attachments that helps change perceptions about our tractor. As good as this trencher is by itself, when coupled to the 4500 tractor, it puts it in a league of its own. This trencher has a 5.5-inch cut width and a maximum depth of 40 inches below grade. It has a standard combination chain with carbide tipped rock and dirt teeth to help power through difficult ground conditions. It also comes standard with a removable crumb scraper to help keep the trench very clean at the bottom as you move along. We've also tuned this trencher to have a much higher chain speed than comparable hydraulically driven models. This makes it more efficient and faster. To attach this trencher to the tractor, you'll simply drive into the hitch arms, latch the mechanism, connect the belt-driven PTO, and then connect the two auxiliary hydraulics. Operation of the trencher is fairly straightforward, but there are a few key tips that are important to remember. The very first thing you want to do is check every time what the chain tension is on the boom. To do this, make sure the boom is level to the ground. The tension should be somewhere between 1.25 and 1.75 inches of gap between the bottom of the boom and the top of the chain. To use the trencher, turn the PTO switch on, which will activate the chain. From there, you want to lower the boom into the ground slowly as you back the machine up. If you need to cut in next to a building or you want to cut straight down into a trench, then you'll have to remove the crumb scraper periodically while you do that. To change the angle of the boom, which affects the total cut depth, you use the auxiliary lever of the SDLA. Move it to the left to raise the boom and move it to the right to lower the boom. Once you've moved the boom to the depth that you want to cut your trench, which is noted on the dial indicator on the left side of the trencher, then you can place the trencher itself in float position and start driving backwards. While you're trenching, keep an eye on that depth indicator because it shows you how deep the boom is underneath the grade. The official Ventrac recommended setting is somewhere between 2,500 and 3,200 RPMs depending on soil conditions and speed desired. Also, while using the trencher, you want to have a weight transfer setting of 2 or 3 typically, but that can vary depending on the conditions. Before you start digging, make sure to call your local hotline to find any utilities that are buried underground to make sure you're not going to trench through anything that's already in existence. Also, since you're running a trencher underneath the ground and you can't see what's underneath you, there is a chance for rocks or stones to come up through and potentially bind in the auger or the chain. If you run into one that's large enough to do this and stop the trencher, the belt will slip first as a safety mechanism so that nothing gets destroyed. But if you notice the belt slipping and the trencher has stopped, hit the PTO switch immediately to stop power to the trencher and then lift it out of the ground slowly to inspect. Before you inspect the trencher, make sure the tractor is off and the parking brake is on with the trencher on the ground so there's no chance for you to get in the way as an operator. Due to the specific nature of the trencher, there are several other attachments that pair very well with it. Obviously, a blade and a bucket can help move dirt back in to close the trench, and if you're very concerned with the results on higher end property, you can use the broom to sweep the dirt into a very small confined area where it will settle on top of the trench and ultimately leave as little trace as possible. Some customers have used the Sod Cutter to first remove turf in one pass, slide it off to the side, and then install irrigation lines with the trencher. And then once they get the dirt put back in over top, they can set the sod in and it's like they were never there in the first place. And since all of these attachments are on a Ventrac, you can switch between any of them in a matter of seconds. It's a value-added service that you're totally missing out on if you've got a Ventrac and not a trencher. Thank you for watching this video on the Ventrac Trencher. For pricing or other information on this attachment and others, visit our website at ventrac.com and make sure to watch other videos here on our YouTube channel.